Om. Namaste, my dear friends. How are you today? This is Krishna from the Shiva Shakti School of Yoga. And I wanted to just do a small piece today on Grihasta Yoga. You know, some people, they say, well, what is this Shiva Shakti Yoga? And so I thought I would just speak to this beautiful question today. Grihasta Yoga, yoga for the householder. Gri, like the word graha, means to grasp. And hasta, it means a hand. So when we take these two words together, grihasta, we have the idea of using the hands and being able to grasp things in daily life. So Grihasta Yoga really represents a fundamental shift in how we are perceiving yoga in the West. Normally, when students come through the doorway of yoga into the yoga classroom, they come in and it's a more physical type practice. And that's an excellent entryway. What we'd like to do is here at the Shiva Shakti School of Yoga is begin to open those doors fully wide open and begin to take the yoga off the mat. And so what do we mean by yoga for the householder? Well, when we look into the nature of the teachings, if you look into Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, for example, which is one of the classical texts we have here in the West, we see that this is an advanced meditative manual for very advanced spiritual beings. And so there's sometimes a little bit of a dissonance when you start to look into these ancient texts because we try to understand that they were written for monks, but how do we use them? They were written for nuns and sadhus and saints and sages, and normally for people that were living outside of society, living in monastic settings or in the metaphorical caves or the actual caves. So how do we practice this yoga? I go to class and I just do my Surya Namaskar, and then what happens after I leave the classroom? How do we take yoga off the mat? We call this Grihasta Yoga, the yoga for a householder. So I'd like to say it's yoga for the checkbook and for the children. So you as a householder, when we start to look at this term, and it's my heart's intention that the word one day householder or Grihasta Yoga will be a commonplace word, in that when we start to take yoga off the mat, we start to begin to apply the principles of Patanjali's Eightfold Path of Yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. You don't have to worry about those terms. But the Eightfold Path that Patanjali has laid out for us, and with the special clause of time, place, and circumstance. So Grihasta Yoga is the idea of taking, for example, our postures, our asanas, and according to the time, place, and circumstance, what is the posture that we take in life? So normally, let's say we're cultivating something like the idea of writing checkbooks, or you having children in your life, or you have your lover or your husband and your pet, and you have your career. You have all these different aspects of your life. But what we begin to see is the posture that we take outside of the classroom, the asana, if you will, the seat in which we sit in life, or the seat in which we sit in life. How do we approach our lives as householder yogis? Well, that's in alignment with the Sanatana Dharma. Now, this is another nice little word, but it's the true word for the ancient teachings of yoga, the Sanatana Dharma. And the Dharma means the eternal way. Dharma means a returning to the natural way, that intuitive sense and seat inside of ourselves, that we're living an authentic life as householders, inside of all the duties and dharmas that we have inside of living in the world, because the yoga that we have on the mat is an excellent training ground, but it's not life. It's not real life. it's an aspect of life, and it gives us the ability when we're practicing these different pranayamas and the asanas and the concentration exercises. We do all those on the mat in a very controlled way, so that when we come to life, we can be spontaneous and alive and adaptive. And this is what we mean by taking yoga off the mat. This is what we mean by reorientating ourselves away from the unnatural rhythms that, through ignorance and a not understanding of the Dharma, of one's own Svat Dharma, one's own natural way and rhythm, but also the larger Dharma of society, the larger Dharma of the planet, and the planet, how it moves around inside of the local solar system. So all these are dharmas, and what happens is when we don't have our compass oriented in alignment with the natural rhythms, let's say your sleep rhythm or your dietary rhythm, or your rhythm for and your routines and your rituals around how you dress and how you take your children to school. Is it driving like this to school, or is it a posture that is balanced and with ease? So the idea for this Shiva Shakti school of yoga is taking consciousness, because yoga ultimately is based on consciousness, on self-awareness. And so we take our self-awareness, which permeates all time and space, not just on the mat, but we become aware, we become self-reflective of the mind, of the prana, of our body, and then we take our awareness and we begin to move skillfully into life. This is what we mean by yoga dharma, grihasta yoga, grihasta dharma. These are all interchangeable terms like this. So it is our heartfelt intention that you begin to align yourselves with the natural way. The idea being that, this is one last time, the idea that through this reorientation process that we can live a sacred life, that we can live a divine life, that we can live a life as a mother, a father, a lover, a brother, a sister like this, that we can live with consciousness, that we can live with a wide open heart and take our practices from the mat and begin to apply them to our entire lives. Yama and niyama, these restraints and observances in action, in life itself. So it's a beautiful outpouring of what we call Grihasta Yoga. At the Shiva Shakti School of Yoga, we lead trainings, we lead online retreats, we're continuing education providers for yogis and yoginis around the world these days. It's so neat. We also lead retreats to wonderful places. So we hope that perhaps you'll come and study with us someday to learn more about Grihasta Yoga that is based on the Sanatana Dharma. And also, we do one-on-one consultations. So if you'd like to come for some Jyotish, some Vedic astrology with Krishna, it's wonderful. Or maybe with my beautiful partner and wife and co-director of the Shiva Shakti School of Yoga, Ayana. She does, Ayurvedic consultations. So there's so many different ways we can get together and share this beautiful love of yoga. So thank you for your time today. I'll chant the Om. Om.